Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kastuba. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from the Govardhan Eco Village, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kastuba Das. Welcome to the show, everybody. It's Q&A day, sleep-in Saturday. It gives you a chance to sleep in until 4:30 in the afternoon. Actually, if you're in India, you can sleep until 4:30 in the afternoon. If you're in New York, you sleep into, actually, they didn't get to sleep in.
No sleep in.
This is 6 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday. If you're here live on Zoom, you're dedicated souls. Shout out to y'all. And here with Kastuba, and we're just loving life. We got a real easy group this year, don't we?
Wonderful people.
No one's complaining. Everyone's cool. I will say the Govardhan Eco Village has really just even more like exceeded in their previous top level service this year.
Yeah.
Everything is smooth this year. Prashad's better. The rooms are better. Everything's grown in more.
Yeah.
Radhanath Swami's been here practically every day.
It was last night, right?
What?
Can't even put things together, right?
Incredible program last night.
It's hard to tell even that was last night, but it was epic.
Epic last night. Dave Amrita Swami was here.
Yeah, Radhanath Swami gave a class and led a kirtan, Gaurvani and Janavi and all led a kirtan at the foot of the massive, majestic, magnificent Madan Mohan temple. It was beautiful. Be outside at night.
Class was incredible.
March gave a nice,
perfect weather, not hot, not cool, not cold.
Yeah, just
Beautiful moon.
Beautiful moon. Yeah.
Yeah. Mika Stubas in the back holding pinkies. No one could see.
No one could see. All right. Okay. Let's keep it moving.
So it's Q&A day. If you're new to the show, welcome. It's questions and answers day. It's the day that people write in their questions. We try our best to give answers. We're going to try to take meet the live today and meet the pilgrims and have them come up and ask some questions.
Yeah.
But before we do that, Miss Mara, you got any announcements? Who's got the questions?
I do.
Okay, these guys go.
We got it.
We got the order here.
You got that figured out?
Yeah.
Here's Miss Mara. Check her out. And she's tan.
No show tomorrow. We're taking the day off, but there is Urban Davy for the Bhakti Center
Very good.
at 11 a.m. And then
What is Urban Davy? What's going on with Urban?
What is Urban Davy?
it's an all women's online sangha
And
that happens once a month.
do
is
you
a
know who's
sangha?
speaking there?
Yeah, I came up with it last
Oh.
time. Now you just put me on the spot
So-
again, and I forgot. I'll get that information
Okay, we can get
in a
that
moment.
info
But
later.
oh yeah, here it is.
Because that could make a difference.
Yeah, the topic is "Who am I? The devastation of discrimination," and the speaker is Rasa Stali Devidasi.
Oh yeah, you said that earlier. I think it's that one, right? Devastation.
Devastation
Of
of this.
discrimination.
Ooh, sounds very dynamic.
Sounds like a hip hop song. A devastation, a discrimination all over the nation.
That was pretty good. All right, we're back to your cover group meetings today at 9:30, 11, and 12:30 Eastern time. And are we ready to announce the India pilgrimage dates?
India pilgrimage.
October 17th through
How did
31st.
you guys?
We are going on pilgrimage in India if you're interested. It's not even on the website yet. Just Give me a couple days to get it up.
Save
I'm
the
gonna
date is what you're
Save
trying
the
to say.
dates. What is it again?
October 17th through 31st.
October 17th, 31st. But check this out. Then you got a couple days off, and then we're doing a napalm pilgrimage.
Napalm. Then
Napalm.
we're gonna do a napalm tour.
It's a little toxic. Nepal trekking pilgrimage through the Himalayas. We're going whitewater rafting. It's great.
Yeah.
The third time we're going to Nepal, and it's back to back. You can go to both of those. Yeah, what are the dates for Nepal?
November 4th through 16th.
And that already has a bunch of signups
People are
already.
waiting to go to
People
Nepal.
waiting. If you're interested, contact Tara at Raghu,
Tara.
R-A-G-H-U, Tara. That's how you say it in New York, Tara. R-A-G-H-U, ragu.pilgrimage@gmail.com. If you're interested to hold your spot, just write some info. Okay. Prabhu,
Hello.
let's bring up the livers.
Okay.
First, we got
Laura
Laura
from
from Chicago. You might know her from Zoom. Laura from Chicago is a regular here. She's always smiling in her little photo. And in person, she's smiling even more. Laura, welcome to the show. What's your story? Tell us about yourself.
My story. I thought I was asking a question.
You are asking a question. It's also called Meet the Pilgrims. We're going to question you. What's your story? How'd you end up here?
10 years ago, I started doing a pretty strong asana practice. I do hot yoga
Okay.
5 times a week-ish. And went through teacher training for 200 hours about 4 years ago and discovered that there's actually 8 limbs to yoga. And that started piquing my curiosity.
Quite a journey. Let's hear the rest.
Thank you. And I started poking around and I saw your interview with Rich Roll
Okay.
and came to Wisdom of the Sages, emailed Mara. And
Wisdom of Sages 108 at gmail.com.
yeah, Zoom almost every morning.
That's a love story. That's a lovely story. Because she started off saying, well, I came off of a pretty heavy, I thought she was going to say, drug induced living on the streets.
Super.
No, super.
Moving into the next stage of life, getting older, and my kids are grown. And
Oh, you got kids. Okay.
So you can relate to us because like we're getting older too.
well, I'm your age.
Yeah.
Are you?
Hmm.
You look young.
Thank you.
All right.
I do yoga.
That'll do it. That helps. Great. What do your children think about you getting into all this Krishna stuff?
Well, after they got over thinking I was in a cult, I think they're happy for me. I think they find me more settled and more peaceful.
How old's your youngest?
22.
Oh, okay. All right. They're really up. They're up there and out. Okay.
And I have to say, I want to shout out to Rich W. because he's
Rich.
my guy and he's on today. So
Hey,
I wanna
Rich.
say hi.
Hey, Rich W.
She's okay.
We're doing good. We haven't
We're
got her
gonna
to
get
shave
an
her
iron.
head yet, but we're working on it. It's just crystallized stool growing out of your skull. It means nothing except endorsing your ego. We can help you. You want to get rid of your ego? Yes or no? I can help you.
We'll do it on the show.
Live shaving her head live.
All right. Let's hear the question.
Okay, what's your question, my friends?
My question is, could you talk about some of the do's and don'ts for people who are going to temple for the first time and some of the,
Visiting a temple.
yeah,
Have you been to the temple in Chicago?
I have.
Okay. Did you feel a little like I don't know what to do?
I did.
Okay.
I still
Hence the
do.
question.
Even here, we went to morning temple. Rick and I did the other morning, and it was a little overwhelming, a little stressful. So
Did you feel pressured by the people there?
No.
Okay. You
no,
just felt
just didn't know where to stand, where to
you
bow.
could have used
where
some
to-
information.
That's a good question. Like, what the heck am I doing here? I feel they're like everyone got the memo except me. Where do you learn the memo? Where do you even get the memo? Great question. First thing is take off your shoes. That's a big one. Take off your shoes in the temple. It's weird because sometimes I'll go to a church and I'll walk in. I was like, we get to wear our shoes in here?
Yeah.
That's disgusting. Yeah.
I think first we should talk about what you're doing in the temple, and then otherwise the rules just sound totally arbitrary and all that, right?
All right. What do you got?
Okay, so a temple, like it's interesting. Do you remember my godbrother, Gopal Raj?
Of course.
What was he famous
Okay.
for?
Cooking.
That's right.
Kidding?
He was a really incredible cook.
I think I mentioned him in my book.
Really, Gopal Raj?
Well, because we did that train trip where I got really sick.
Oh, and you were with his whole family,
I
his
was with
brothers.
his whole family, and then
Yeah.
Mohan, who made the entire train chant Hare Krishna.
Right.
He tried to get me to do it too. I was like, "Are you kidding?" I'm like,
You're
"My
not gonna do
Doty's gonna
it.
fall off." Are you kidding?
So anyway, this Gopal Raj, he stayed with my guru when he was in Cambridge. My guru was going to Cambridge University.
Hmm.
Gopal was kind of he cooked for him,
Hmm.
and they went together to some old cathedral there. You know, some of those cathedrals are magnificent, right?
Yeah, beautiful.
So and he had probably he grew up in India, probably never seen a cathedral like that.
Yeah.
And then afterward, my guru asked him, "What did you think of the church?" And he said it was very beautiful, but where was the deity? In other words,
No deity.
where's the deity in there? In other words, the temples in India. They're not just like gathering places. If you go to a mosque, to a Hindu, it seems it's very empty, and a church can feel that way too, because the whole idea is that God is, in one sense, God is present everywhere, but we have trouble seeing that. We walk
Mm.
around totally out of touch with that. We walk around, maybe we believe that in our heart, but it's kind of like if we were to calculate how much of the time we're remembering that, it's very little. We get caught up in the world. The temple, the idea is there that God can be present in a form that you could meditate on, that you could see with your eyes, and so on. And through that type of meditation, you're meant to be able to go out into the world and see God everywhere, see God in everything, in the heart of every living being, and so on. So it's a place to meditate. It's a place for ritual, but ritual is meditative too. You know,
Mm.
so like in our temple, like the Radha Krishna temples that you'll see in northern India, and now thanks to Srila Prabhupada, like he kind of established them all around the world. The idea is that Radha and Krishna are installed there through ritual. You call God to say, please accept this form. And in that form will give us the opportunity to meditate on you and to offer service to you, to focus on you. And so so when you come into the temple, it's kind of like you're coming into Krishna's house. It's kind of like Radha and Krishna are like the important people that you're going to see in one sense. And the um the etiquette or the rules that are there, they're meant to help us keep that in mind so that we're not missing the whole point of we're not experiencing the transformation that we're meant to experience. So, for instance, when you're standing in the temple in front of the deities of Radha and Krishna, one thing is you just don't talk idly, because even say was any let's say you met like a really important person, like you went there to have a special audience with them, you probably wouldn't just start talking idly in front of them. You would be like, I'm here to see you, and there are important things that I would like to say, or important conversation I'd like to have with you. If you have that kind of reverential mood, you're not just going to be chit chatting about anything. So that's kind of to help us, is garner the right word, to help us
Cultivate.
cultivate, keep in mind what we're doing and how we're
Mm.
doing, right? So yeah, one is generally when you walk into the temple room, there's a bell there, right?
Ring that bell. That's the funnest part of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Hearing that bell. I think it's important to say that I'm going to just butt in for a
Okay.
second. Sometimes the doors are closed and you can't see the deities. So you have to find
You're
out
in the temple, but the door
the
to the
door
altar is
to the
closed.
altar is closed. So you have to find out from the temple when is the darshan. It means when God gets to see you and you get to see God. And then also there's an arati, which is the time they actually ring the bells and offer the incense and offer the ghee lamp. And it's nice to go during that time as well. Sometimes people like to just check in with the deities in the course of the day. And they develop like a relationship with the deities. It becomes almost like, I want to check in today. It's my lunch break. I want to go in and check in. And sometimes, like when you go to someone's house, people, you go to someone's house and sometimes you bring something. So you bring like a sack of rice, which is a nice thing. People throw a sack of rice on the altar and the priest ends up taking it. Sometimes the priest gives you something back, you know.
What do they give you back?
But sometimes they'll give you a flower garland.
And what's the significance of that?
Well, because it's the prashad, it's the remnants of the Lord. meaning the Lord wore it.
It's like blessed,
It's
right?
blessed. The Lord wore the garland. They give it back to you. Sometimes in India, when you go to a temple, very often you buy a garland. They sell garlands outside, and they're really cheap. And you go in there with the garland. You just give it to the priest, and sometimes the priest will put it on immediately and give you another one back that's already been worn.
Mm.
In America, we don't get that thing. I remember going into a temple with like 8 of my students. I was like, "Come on, we're gonna buy garlands and bring them inside." So we all bought these garlands, and we gotta go through there quick. And I turn around, they're all wearing the garlands. I was like, "No, you don't wear the garlands. You give the garlands." They're like, "Okay, we'll take them off and give them." I go,
No,
"You
you can't give
give
them now.
Well, now you've already worn them." So in the same way we want to cook for Krishna, we want to offer Krishna fresh flowers too. So people like to offer flowers. You don't see that so much in America but people sometimes can bring flowers if you want to. Also, if you grow flowers, that's nice. Some people live in a place where you can grow fruit or
It's
grow.
a nice flowers or fruits,
Yeah, it's a
and then
nice
you
thing.
offer them at the altar.
Mm.
Very nice.
So yeah, find out when the Artik is, and in the Hare Krishna or ISKCON temple set up at Prabhupada, they generally have some type of public service at least once a week. And that's usually on a Sunday, sometimes a Sunday evening or Sunday afternoon. But they might have, if you get very connected with the temple, you'll find, oh, there's a Bhagavad Gita class.
Every morning there's stuff going on if you go early.
Every morning there's a sort of like a little bit more of a
Inner house program.
which everybody's invited to. But sometimes they'll have like an evening class or something like that. The more you get connected with that community. But it's always fun. I was going to the temple in Brooklyn when I was younger, but I didn't know anybody. So I was like you. People were all saying "Jai, Jai," and I was just going. "Muh, muh." I didn't know what they were saying. No one told me what to do. No one told me what to bow. I didn't know what I was mumbling when I was bowing. I was saying in class the other day, I was like, I was so spaced out. Like, I didn't even realize there was an altar because somebody was like, "Oh, what do you think of that altar?" I was like, "There's an altar in there." I was just like looking around. I didn't know we were focused on something. He's like, "Yeah, well, what do you think of that priest?" I was like, "There's a priest there on the altar." I missed the whole thing.
You're looking for like a black outfit and a little white
Well,
collar.
no, it's not because of that. It's because there's so many pictures on the wall.
Yeah.
And then there's a temple, which just seemed like another
People moving around.
picture and people moving around. I was just like looking around, and I found it very difficult to just. I was younger. I just couldn't sit still.
Mm.
Looking around, going to the gift shop, coming back, going back in the gift shop, looking around more. I had like missed the entire experience, but I will say it's very confusing, especially on like the Sunday feast, because it's like it seems like everybody knows what they're doing except me. So it's nice to go with a friend who does know, and they can give you some clues, or you could just say, "Hey,
You got to call up Page Family Bhakti.
yeah, Page Family Bhakti's
They're
there.
out
Make
there in
new
Chicago,
friends."
right? Say,
You
hey,
could have a
take me
little
to the
wisdom
temple,
sages.
show me the ropes. Show me the ropes.
Cameron, perhaps.
Yeah.
So, it's nice to go in and bow when you go to the temple.
Generally,
room.
that's what you do first thing you walk in.
Ring the bell, bow if there's a bell.
Ring the bell. Why ring the bell? It's kind of like you ring the door. You don't
Like a
just walk
doorbell.
into someone's house. You're like, hello, I'm coming in.
And then it's
Okay.
nice to have a prayer to Krishna. Sometimes we get in front of the deities. We're like, what do we say? I love you. Please
That's
love
fine.
me.
Please.
Please love me. That would be like when you greet someone. The first thing, like Rick Lesher's here today. So if Rick Lesher came over, I said the first thing I go to greet Rick, I say, "Hey, can you give me something? I'm really struggling right now. Can you give me money? Actually, I need a job. Can you give me a job? Can you give me a girlfriend, please, Rick?" It's like you don't go and just start throwing your desires on God. You offer a prayer, you appreciation. And so there's very, very beautiful prayers you could learn. You could say some prayers from the Brahma Samhita. You could, say you could sit down in the temple in peace. If there's no one there except you just read a chapter of the Bhagavad Gita there in quietude.
Yeah, just a little bit more about like what's really happening there. It's like, so on that altar, the idea is it's like the rituals are done all day, right? Sometimes the doors are open, sometimes they're closed. And it's kind of like they're feeling the presence of God in the form. And it's as if God were a guest in that place. And they're saying, okay, God, you've come. We want you to stay here. We want you to live here. We want to serve you. And so meditative ritual offerings are made every day, just like, okay, wake up. He's woken up with music and with beautiful prayers. He's put to sleep with music and beautiful prayers. Food offerings are made. It's even they're just like a whole list of offerings like throughout the day, now please have a seat. Let me offer you something to drink. Let me offer you a garland of flowers. Here's some fragrant oils and some incense, et cetera, et cetera. So it's kind of like they're saying, please God, stay and reside here in this space. So this space can be sacred to us and we can connect with you here. But it's also like there's the external, and then on the internal, those rituals are meant to be like, dear God, please reside here in my mind and my heart. That's the connection. It's always meant everything that's going on external. Don't understand that that's what it's limited to. It's even yogis will do all of those same rituals sitting quietly alone without any temple to get the same internal effect, right? The external just helps maybe reinforce it. But really, it's all about inviting God into the mind and into the heart, so that when I walk out of the temple, I feel the presence of God in my mind and in my heart, and I see God everywhere. Now, there's if you go to South India, the ancient temples in South India, the design of them is like the mood in which they worship God. There's reverential. Usually, it's like Lord Vishnu that they're worshiping, or there's other ones, but the mood is always reverential. And you would have to wait in a long line commonly, especially at the big, famous, popular
Yeah, like
temples.
these long lines back and forth, like you're in a waiting to go through security,
Yeah,
at the
yeah,
airport.
and like it's like thousands of people have come to have a quick word with God.
Quick word.
Like, dear God, please give me this or give me that, and then then they're gone. That and then the temples of Radha and Krishna, like in northern India, they were designed different. They were designed more because God is our goal is to relate to God in a more
Personable.
personal way. And so they were designed so that you could spend a lot of time there. So it's like they would have big open courtyards, or in our temples, like in the West, they're indoors, but just like big open space. So you can sit there and you can, like Raghunat's saying, it's a beautiful thing to even learn one verse that you can come before God and say with sincerity, you know. Give us a Brahma Samhita verse.
Chintamani prakarasadmashukalpa vriksha laksa prateshu surabira vipaliyantam Lakshmi sahasya satta sambrama sevyamanam Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami.
What does it mean?
Chintamani prakarasadmashukalpa. In your world built of Chintamani stones, magical touchstones. Lakshmi said, where you are served by hundreds of thousands of gopis and Lakshmis.
I worship you. I worship
There's
that
one more,
Govinda.
I think. But
The
anyway,
cows.
the cows,
Sarabi
and
cows.
surrounded by beautiful Sarabi herds of Sarabi cows, such as that beautiful Govinda whom I adore, that original being.
So there's whether it's offering prayers that have already been written and chanted and handed down for thousands of years, or whether it's just offering sincere prayers, your thoughts, opening yourself up, speaking to God, sharing your heart with God, opening up that relationship, or attending the rituals themselves, festivals, the talks there. But
Singing in the kirtan.
yeah,
If there's a kirtan going on.
it's our place to go and be with God. That's why. So when Gopal Raj came out of that church, it was a very beautiful place, but I didn't see God in there. For him, it was just like
Missing
yeah,
the main event.
yeah,
It was like you're going to a stadium and there's no band
no
playing.
team was there. It's like, oh yeah, wait, yeah. So beyond that, I don't know if there's so many rules.
Well,
I
I
mean,
like the
there's a
idea of what
whole
you're
list of
saying. Like
them.
you could pour out your heart to God,
Yeah.
like you're talking to a therapist also afterwards. And you can also ask, "How are you? Here's what's going on in my life." You can tell I have a relationship where you just talk. Here's what's going on in my life. What do you think? And if you, I'm open to any direction. I always ask Christian, whatever you want me to do, please let me know. Give me some whisper
Yeah.
or give me some loud direction.
And I think if you're there and you want to know more, you can always just look around and see what kind of vibe you're getting from different people.
Try to find
Just try
someone
to
who's
find
not
that's
so
got
crazy.
got some good vibe going,
Some
and just say, I'm kind of new here, and I'm just wondering if I'm doing things right. Could you just tell me a little bit about what? And there's
When
a
they
good
come around
chance.
with the flaming lamp, you
Oh
touch
yeah,
the flame and put it to your forehead. There you
you don't
go.
have
And you're
to
sort
actually
of
touch the
you don't have to
fire.
touch the fire. But you can just,
Yeah, they're like
yeah, that's it. Touch
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Any case, does that help? Okay.
Also, you don't sit with your feet If you're sitting, you never
yeah.
point your feet.
Yeah, yeah.
That's like a thing. Matter of fact, if your feet are showing, you usually cover your feet too. Oftentimes, like if you have a skirt, you should cover it, or a dhoti.
Mm.
You don't touch somebody with your feet. That's a bad one too.
Yeah.
What else?
Don't step over anyone.
Don't step
Sure
over
better.
people. What else?
Oh yeah, we
Yeah,
don't.
don't have your back to the deities. Yeah, when you're sitting. So usually the speaker will sit on the side.
There's a center of the attention.
Yeah,
Yeah, the center. The center. Okay.
it's pretty good.
Thank you for the question.
Good question. Who else is on the list of cues today? Narayani, come on down. Narayani from Germany, lives in Switzerland. How are you, Narayani? She's a longtime Zoomer, maybe one of the oldest Zoomers we
Originals.
have. Not age-wise, but you've been here since the
come on down.
beginning, right? Haven't hi, Narayani.
Haribo, yes, I listened to Super Soul Sacred Sangha. That was fun.
And were you here in India when we started the podcast?
Yes.
You were here from day one. That's pretty exciting.
Yes.
Narani's solid. Like she's
Very
around.
solid, very solid.
Except last year she just came for one day.
That was weird.
Yeah. So we're a little disappointed with that. Just came and left. And that's it.
She was avoiding us.
Yeah. It's okay.
It's okay. We love you. You're part of the team. How are you? How can we serve you?
I love you. Thanks. Thanks for being my teachers.
Oh,
I was thinking, since I'm very fortunate, I'm coming to Mayapur with you guys.
yes.
Oh yeah, that's right. Have you ever been to Narayan? Oh, you didn't
She
you
was
go there
there.
with us? Did you
No,
go
I
to?
was- I was
Have you
not
ever
on
been to
that.
Narayan? Narayan. Have you ever been to Mayapur before?
Yes,
Okay.
twice short, very brief,
Okay.
but not with the guidance of you guys.
Okay.
Well, that's what we like to do. We like to curate a trip so people have it. Otherwise, you know, in Mayapur, it's so big, you could just sort of like get lost walking around there.
Mhm.
So we curate an experience.
What's your question?
I was wondering if you could tell us a little more about Chaitanya and what's so special about him.
Very good question.
Very good question.
Thank you.
Okay, you want to start it, Raghunath?
Sure.
Whenever you're ready.
Chaitanya is so special because it's the reason why we're all into this in the first place. Because Chaitanya is the Yuga avatar, the avatar of this age, and he came to give the simplest process of self-realization through sound, through kirtan, through chanting, and he gave the easiest to the most unqualified. Why are we unqualified? We're just a bunch of dented cans. We're broken. We're broken in this. People will admit it till I'm so broken, or I'm a mess. I can't keep everything together. In Kali Yuga, we have no qualifications. We have no adhikaris. And when you hang out in India, you see, like, these people are certain people you just meet. There's like, these guys are so qualified. And then you see like how we grew up and we thought, oh my God, these people are so unqualified. Yet something as simple as sound vibration can change your consciousness so fast. And a simple analogy would be when you do the negative sound vibrations, when you criticize people, find fault with people, gossip, that sound vibration is so degrading, nobody feels clean. When you speak good about people, appreciate people, that sound vibration, those are also type of mantras in the mind that make you feel better about yourself. Then, and better about the world you live. Then you have these transcendental sounds, which are like potent, imported sounds that are out of this material world. That's what they're called. They say they are imported from the spiritual realm. Goloka Premadana Harinama Sankirtana. It's not of this world. And if you associate with those sounds, like in the same way if you associate with the sounds of Bob Marley, say, he might inspire you in a spiritual way.
That's right.
Right? You know,
It was so funny last night.
what?
We were with an old friend of ours, Ladini Shakti.
Oh yeah.
Ladini, grew up in Brooklyn, used to have big long dreadlocks.
Yeah.
He was into the whole. He saw Bob Marley back in the
Oh,
day.
really?
Yeah, yeah.
He's one of these guys. He's old but looks so young.
I know he's 75 5
He's
years
75. He
old.
looks like he's 40.
Yeah. And so then and I remember like once years ago I was asking him, well, what do you think about Bob Marley? And he practically had Bob Marley on like the Narda Mooney platform, you know. So in front of Rock and Atlas, I said, so Ladini, what do you think of Bob Marley? Oh, very deeply realized soul. Yes, yeah. So what do you think about all the pot smoking? Well, the Rastafarians have their sacraments.
Those
Their
are
whole, their
sacraments.
whole, their
Sacraments, like,
rights.
all right. He's trying to dig into me. It never ends with this Duba. Anyway, those sound vibrations change us, right? Just like if we're at a Metallica concert, it's like there's a culture that comes with the sound.
Yes.
And there's something very potent about associating with divine sounds.
Okay.
And that's one thing you will learn very quickly by either chanting the holy name or being around kirtan or playing Vishnu Sahasranam or playing these, beautiful Sanskrit mantras. They change the consciousness. They cleanse the ether. And if you don't believe me, enter the experiment. Like, make a commitment to chant one round of japa a day. So Mahaprabhu, or Chaitanya, the great master, he gave this and he wanted it spread to all people, whether they are qualified or unqualified. And he wanted us to take it into the streets, called Nagar Sankirtan, where you take the mridanga and the kartals and you just go through the streets and sing. And they say that sound is so pure. It doesn't just purify you, it purifies every living entity. I mean, it doesn't just purify anybody who hears it. It even purifies the beings that hear it, like the trees and the plants and the animals. So Chaitanya was an incredible person. At the very least, they would say that historians will say, well, he was a child prodigy. Then other people would say, well, no, he was actually a mystic, because there are so many stories, Christ-like miracles he would perform. But his intimate, closest followers said this person, who by the way, were self-realized gurus in their own right, very, very prolific authors in their own right, hundreds of followers in their own right, they say this person is an avatar. We've never met anybody like them, to the point where many biographies were written about him. When someone does something great, even in the material world, like we've developed, this thing called Apple computers. We say, oh, really? Apple guy? I wonder, it'd be great to read his bio. Guy who came up with Apple computers. When someone like Chaitanya did what he did, and you got to understand what it's like to write a biography 500 years ago. You're writing this thing on palm leaves, and it was kept for generations, passed down from teachers to disciples. He was quite a mystical being. And what I love about it was he made the very, very enigmatic, mysterious what we know as Hinduism, he extracted just the essence. And that's what I think Americans are good. We want to know what is behind all this stuff. Just like the last question of Laura from Chicago, she was just saying, well, what are all these rituals about? We want to know why I'm bowing, why I'm waving the incense clockwise instead of counterclockwise, why I'm touching the flame. Who are these figures on the altar? What are we supposed to be doing? What's the thought process behind seeing them? Do I say a prayer? Do I ask them for money? What is happening here? So we want to get to the bottom of this, and Chaitanya extracted just essential teachings of what can be very confusing of Hinduism, where a lot of times Indians themselves are a little confused.
Okay.
It's quite mysterious.
Mhm.
Want to add on to this?
Yeah, sure. No, thank you. I was thinking, I don't think for some listeners, we should just come straight out and say that we understand that Sri Caitanya is Krishna, right? And generally, within the tradition, it's believed Krishna was here 5,000 years ago. Sri Chaitanya was here 500 years ago. But it's Krishna in a very special and unique way, in a very special and unique mood. And this is something that I pray for the day that I just understand just how special it is that he appeared in this way, and that were somehow fortunate enough to connect with him. When we do realize it, we'll just cry and cry and cry.
In a good way.
And
We won't be sad.
No, not sad.
Just the opposite. Good cry.
Good cry. Maybe ugly cry, but good ugly cry.
Yeah, all cries a little ugly.
But
Right.
we're talking about divinity and like how we can see divinity, how going to a temple should help us see divinity. Like when we say namaste, right? Okay, I recognize the divinity in you, right? Your body is a temple to God. God is in your body. I honor that. And then, then there's so many different ways that God manifests. There's different avatars and so on. But we would say that the most special is Krishna, the origin of it all, right? It's Sri Krishna, that beautiful boy from whom comes uh, the Vishnu incarnations, which are so glorious and beautiful and magnificent. But he's the source of all of that, and he manifests the most beautiful moods. So all the gods and the goddesses and all that, they're all stemming from one source, and that's Sri Krishna. So Sri Krishna is so special. But Sri Chaitanya's, sometimes we call him Avatar, but he's a little different. He is Krishna. He is that same origin, but he's that same origin in a very, very special mood. And Krishna's mood is sweetness, right? He's just full of sweetness. Sri Chaitanya is that same person, but his predominant mood is compassion. And this is the thing, and this is like the really esoteric aspect of this bhakti theology, that Krishna realizes something, that Radha, right, Radha the goddess, his own energy, but with her own will and her own um, personification, she is the personification of love, bhakti, of love for Krishna. He recognizes that the experience of loving God is even more overwhelming than the experience of being God loved by the devotee.
Let me give a good analogy of that.
Okay. Sure.
I'm going to butt in, but it's going to make a lot of sense. You know how I really realized this thing?
Tell me.
Because when I was in a band, I'd get up on stage and people, when people are excited to see you, they're all like going, and sometimes on stage, I'd be like,
What are you kidding?
these people are enjoying this more than I'm enjoying this, actually. I'm not actually enjoying this that much. They're like really happy.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like sort of Krishna is wondering, like, what's it like for the devotee?
Yeah.
To feel that love. I want to taste that love.
That's the one thing he can't feel. That's the one thing that only his devotee can feel.
Isn't that interesting? I think that's very interesting.
Sometimes you could say also like a mother's holding the baby, right? And the baby's feeling the mother's love, and it's you can see the baby's all pleased and smiling and laughing, and oh, this is great.
It's great.
But the mother is feeling something far more. She's just, her heart is totally melting. So it's said that there's the object of love, the one that the love is directed at, and there's the subject, or the ashraya, the abode of the love, and the one that's holding the love in the heart for the object of love. And it's said that the experience for the ashraya, the shelter, the vessel that's holding the love, it's an experience that's more deep and rich and so on. So he's saying, like, Radha loves me, God. I don't know what it's like to hold love of God, love of Krishna in my heart, and she's experiencing it. I'm fascinated by that. What that must be like. The only one way he can do it is to come as a devotee of Krishna. So he comes as Sri Chaitanya. But he's Krishna in the mood of Radha. He's Krishna feeling the emotions, feeling the love of Krishna that Radha holds in her heart. And this is really important, that for the Vaishnavas, for the Bhakti yogis, our whole goal is to reawaken this love for God in the heart. And when that love is pointing it at God, we call it prema, which means love for God. But when that same heart with that same love is pointed at the rest of the world, it manifests as compassion. They say audarya, right? The love that a lover of God feels in the heart when it's pointed at God, that's one thing. When you take the same love and you point it at the rest of the world, it's called compassion. I was talking about that last night. After you left, Maharaj asked different people to speak. And I was saying, if you look at this project, the Govardhan Eco Village, it's all dedicated to loving Krishna. But at the same time, the hearts of the people that live and serve here is nourished day by day, and that love for God is deepening in their hearts every day. But when they turn around and they engage with all the local villages, then it manifests as compassion. It's like, how can we share with you? And so they do so much for everyone around. Now, when Sri Chaitanya comes, he's got the ultimate love because he's got Radha's love in his heart. And when he turns and looks at the rest of the world, he's got the ultimate compassion, right? Like like beyond compassion. And so that goes back to what Raghunath was saying, was like, if you read all the different yogic literature, it's all giving instructions about how you can advance, how you can become free from the programming of the mind, from all your bad habits, from all your bad karma, going back lifetime after lifetime of lifetime, being stuck in a cycle of samsara that goes around and around and around. You got to become this super renounced, jnani, or this incredibly disciplined yogi to break this cycle.
Mm.
And Krishna comes along and says, you don't have to do that, all that. You could just surrender to me.
Here's an
Just-
express train.
Yeah, and that's an express train. You just surrender, give your heart to me, and you bypass all of that. That's incredible mercy. But Sri Chaitanya is even more. He's like saying, just hear this mantra, just sing this mantra, right? Just chant these names, just engage in this music, and not only will I give you liberation, I'll give you the purest, deepest love of God, the intimate love that the residents of Vrindavan had. He's coming and he's trying. It's like if someone busted out of like Tiffany's with like tons of jewelry and said, "Here, take this." And you're like, "I don't know if I want it." No, just take it. Well, how much does it cost? Just take it. I'm giving it to you. That's the idea, that he's got this. It's Krishna coming in this with this deepest love and this deepest compassion, and he's just sharing it.
Mm.
There's no question of misbehavior or bad past or anything. That he's not even seen any of that.
Mm.
He's just bypassing all of that and just saying, take this, I'm giving you something so special. That's why I say, when we realize it, we'll cry. We'll be like, ah.
Can't
You know,
believe I'm
yeah.
so undeserving in this. Unbelievable.
Exactly.
Historically, it was a historical moment that, and it's hard to even understand right now, but you could imagine if it was today, tenured professors at Harvard giving up everything and moving to the jungle, billionaires walking from their away from their fortunes, queens or first ladies or something, leaving their spouses and also moving to the jungle. Lord Chaitanya had this effect where people were giving up everything from all over India and moving to this ancient holy land and practicing bhajan, or the worship of Krishna. And it was almost like they were possessed by spirit, but it was happening pre-internet, pre-newspapers. It was somehow spreading virally. And Vrindavan was a hub for bhakti 500 years ago. And the center of that, the hub of the wheel of that bhakti, that was Sri Caitanya. And it was a massive, incredible time historically.
Sounds like a great time.
It was a great time.
Were you there? You may have been there.
I might have been there. I might have been doing some sinful activity. I had to take birth again as a punk rock singer, and then met the devotees, and now can be saved in this life. That's what I'm hoping.
That's what it is.
It'd be nice to be saved in this life.
It really would be.
It would be. Although I'm excited for Krishna
Coming back again?
consciousness.
You want to come back again?
I sort of don't want to, and I sort of do.
All right.
See how everybody's doing.
Okay.
I really feel like we are in a bhakti tsunami right now.
Renaissance?
Yeah, it's this whole thing about Ram Mandir. India's losing their mind. Everybody's obsessed with Lord Ram in such a wonderful way now. And you know what? We were just before the show, me and Kastu were just flying through not Instagram, YouTube. There's so many they've
So many young
Indian singers,
bands.
young Indian singers and bands that have taken traditional Braj bhajans and Ram bhajans and turned them into palatable, not like foreign sounding music, but stuff that any ear could appreciate. Music
like pop bhajan.
bhajans, but they're devotionally sang, and they've got millions of followers.
I know.
It's unbelievable. And then you meet these young people, like really young people, who are just lucid
How
and
young?
clear, like children, little children,
How little?
little children, like these third generation, second generation devotees, or these people growing up in devotee families
Yeah.
from around the world, not just India, but also India. And it's like, oh, I get it.
Yeah, there's more
Acharyas,
yeah.
masters are taking birth right now all over the planet. There has to be something. It's almost like an alcoholic. They have to hit a rock bottom to spring off the bottom to go higher. And we are in a world that's collapsing. And it might just take a collapse, an apocalypse, or people just losing their marbles for a certain demographic to say, no, I want light. I don't want hate anymore. And I think this is maybe how things seem so crazy. It's all a preparation for Lord Chaitanya to walk right down the center aisle and bring and rescue us. That's how I'm feeling.
You're getting into the prophet mode right now.
I'm in prophecy mode.
But I think sometimes when I think, let's just talk historically, right? That when Srila Prabhupada came to the West,
Historic.
he came without any help. I was just watching a clip of a scholar at a conference that was recently held at Harvard University for the 50th anniversary of ISKCON. Right?
Okay.
And this scholar was comparing Srila Prabhupada to Muhammad and to Jesus Christ. And he was talking about all the advantages that Muhammad and Jesus Christ had over Prabhupada.
What do they have?
Well, they were
An
working
army.
they were working in their own home,
Turf. Their home turf. They
Where-
spoke the language.
where the people already had a faith that was connected to what they were presenting.
Okay.
He was giving a whole list of things. I don't remember
Okay.
them all right now. And then he said Prabhupada came here. They were speaking to people that were qualified and well established, and so Prabhupada was speaking to just young hippies
On drugs.
on drugs. He was all alone. He had no backing, no funding. He was presenting something entirely foreign to them.
Yeah. Basically had to import an entire culture.
Yes,
Language, music,
exactly.
ritual,
It was
dress.
entirely foreign culture, food. He gave them everything, and he did it in 10 years. He went around the world and spread it around the whole world in 10
12
years.
years, 108 temples.
And it keeps expanding, and it's growing, and it's growing.
Yeah, it's called leaving a legacy.
Yeah,
Planting a seed, like planting an acorn that's going to grow a tree, a massive tree that's going to give tens of thousands of more acorns, and it's just going to keep going. He wound it up for it to keep going,
yes,
right?
yes. And so I think of the early followers of Srila Prabhupada. Every day, crazy things were unfolding. Like, oh, the Beatles are suddenly into this.
That's another, yeah.
Now, like all these people are just getting interested in this like crazy. Wherever you look, far out things are unfolding.
Hmm.
And I know that because I know people that were there at the time. They were like, we're gonna just take over this world in just a
Yeah.
matter of a short time. And then I can imagine, then Prabhupada left in 1977, and like any quote unquote new religious movement. Not that the Bhakti was new or Gaudiya Vaishnavism was new, but it was
It was
new in the
considered
West
in America.
So it's called
An
a new
NRM.
yeah, a new religious movement. Like any new religious movement, when the founder goes, then it struggles for some time.
Mm.
And even though ISKCON has definitely had its struggles,
I mean, when we got into it, it was like probably at a low point.
it bottomed out. And we got into it.
Yeah, we got it just goes to show, and something's really truthful, even at the bottom, it's still truth.
Yeah.
What can you do?
So all that being said, at that point, I'd imagine a lot of those people like, we thought it was just going to take over everything, and now we're getting older, and it didn't. But I think what you're saying is right on. It's just that the world is moving in a certain way, and all those devotees who had dedicated their lives to understanding and practicing and teaching and spreading bhakti, they're all having kids, and those kids are having kids. Like right now, we've got right here with us now, we've got friends here that are second generation that have their third generation little kids toddling around here.
I know we have, third generation devotees.
Yeah.
We, yesterday's kirtan was all led by second generation devotees. Gauravani,
Yeah.
who's
Who are
almost
credible.
almost my age, maybe a
Well, he's
little younger, a little
quite
younger,
a bit younger.
quite a bit younger. Okay,
He's way younger.
way younger, way younger than me.
Not
second
that.
generation devotee. He's got
Yeah.
3 kids, you know.
Yeah.
But Gauravani, Jahnavi, Bali, and Krishna Kishore, those guys are like the Rolling Stones of Kirtan.
And their kids are going to be even better.
And their kids are getting better.
Yeah.
But Bali and Kishore and Vish, those guys have been playing Kirtan together since they were like 3.
Yeah.
They've been doing Kirtan together since they were little. Vishwambar was walking around with Padayatra when he was 3 years old, leading
Yeah,
Kirtans.
walking around the holy places
Walking the holy
months at a
places.
time. Yeah, so that's my point. And you were saying like, we just were flipping around YouTube. It's like, oh, here's like 2 girls that look like they're about 8
And they're singing Krishna bhajans
with incredible, like really well,
and millions of followers.
and millions of followers. So I'm convinced that bhakti it makes too much sense. It's too attractive.
It's too attractive. I think real serious Christians will start becoming, you know what? This makes
all kinds of or all those people that's the growing demographic of people that say I'm spiritual but not religious. Bhakti is going to click all the boxes for them. It's beautiful, it's cultural, it's got a depth of wisdom to it.
great food.
It's got a wonderful culture.
Kid friendly.
It's transcending all the negative aspects of religion that turn me off.
Great outfits. Turbans.
Right, all that.
Wow, we get fun points for
Yeah, yeah.
turbans.
So in any case, I could easily see that it can explode. It
Lots
can
of flowers.
it can explode, and it will happen in ways that these original devotees that they can't even imagine. It'll be 2 8-year-old girls that can sing like crazy that attract like hundreds of thousands, even millions of
I
people.
mean, think about this. Think of the festivals we do.
Yeah.
The Vrindavan temple, they fill the whole sunken courtyard with water, throw flowers all over the water in designs, and then make a little boat and they pull the deities on a boat. How crazy is that? And how fun is that? Then they put the deities on a swing and they swing the deities. How crazy and fun is that?
And so you think that's
I think that could
gonna
attract a
change.
lot of people
Okay.
sitting on the fence.
Anyway, I see it happening. I don't know if we'll see it, how much we'll see it unfold in our life.
I say we work like it's gonna.
Okay.
We act like it's gonna, and
Yeah,
we get
that's
to
right.
be part of that tsunami.
Yeah. And then maybe we come back and
Maybe
see
we
it
come
unfold
back,
more.
and maybe our children are taking.
And that's the other point, is
What?
that these same people that are like, oh, we didn't accomplish it in our lifetime. That's okay. You can come back.
You
And
come back and
come back without all of the karma you entered the previous life in.
Sure.
Right. And just like with power, just like with purity and with power and just influence,
It's in the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. It says those who've been practicing yoga for a long time.
Yeah. Take birth in the family.
They take birth in a family of yogis.
Yeah.
So from the very infancy, they're getting trained in all these rituals, mantras, pujas, tantras, yantras.
Mm.
Oh yeah, Miss Mara. How are you, Miss Mara? How are we? Oh,
Got
it's
it.
Q&A day.
Yes. Oh,
That was an answer, huh?
that was a long answer. There we go.
Wow, that was a
Day
long
off
answer.
tomorrow,
That was
right?
okay.
Day off, Mira?
We got a day off tomorrow. We'll do more cues. Say we do more cues next time we get back here.
You want to do more cues?
No?
No.
Why not?
Back to Bobby's time.
This when do you run the show?
Yeah, we've always been running this show.
I've been running the show. Thanks everybody for joining us. Let's see if anybody joined late. I know it's early in the morning. That's okay. They can deal with it.
Oh,
Facebook can deal with it.
Page Family Bhakti is
Rupa.
saying, reach out. We'll go to the temple.
Thomas is here. Hey, Jahnavi, pretty. Haribo. Haribo.
Ferguson, an egg corn.
An egg corn.
You said
Not
egg.
An egg corn and ahorn. Hey, look who's here. It's Brooke. Hi, Brooke. Hey, Gopal Nandini. Hey, Parmananda Prabhu. See you soon. Hey, Yvette Elizabeth. See you soon. Hey, Sophie Mo. See you in a year. Hey, Cookie Monster. Harry Bowl. Hey, House of Pain. Hey, Charlie. Harry Bowl. Hey, Rich Dub. Hey, Rod. Hey, come on, everybody. Sing. Come on, look alive, Chaitanya.
Put a sheath on that elbow.
at these charming rooms. That's right. Everybody. By the time we come back, it's gonna be the Ram Mandir is gonna be. Well, gee.
Hey. Thanks everyone. It's a beautiful day for a beautiful day. Magic here. Let the magic continue to flow. Howdy bo.